A company worth $500 billion and over 1,000 pages of business wisdom gained over the years. I'm talking about Warren Buffett and his letters to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders. And in this video, I'll tell you what I learned from these letters. Screw EBITDA! Do it! EBITDA is a misleading concept because it does not take into account depreciation, which is a very real, though non-cash, expense. To quote Buffett again, references to EBITDA makes us shudder. Does management think that the tooth fairy pays their capital expenditures?
Exactly.
Reasoning of Buffett makes sense because you cannot get away with not paying your employees. So how can you get away with not paying for your capital expenditures? That's just weird. In 1951, Buffett learned that his teacher and hero, Ben Graham, was the president of an insurance company called GEICO, based in Washington, D.C. Buffett's next step? Take a train on a Saturday morning to Washington, D.C., find the headquarters of the company, and go visit the company, knock on the doors until someone opens, and ask if there is anyone inside who could let him in and explain how the company works. And there was one person. This person was the assistant to the president of GEICO, who later became the CEO of the company. And he taught Buffett in 4 hours how insurance operates. This half-day course in insurance was life-changing to Buffett. In 1976, which is 25 years later, Buffett bought a significant share in this company. And in 1995, Berkshire bought the remainder of the company. Well, I guess most of us would be satisfied by just reading about GEICO in an encyclopedia, maybe just by Googling it. But clearly Buffett wasn't satisfied. Buffett wanted to learn about the company. And he went the extra mile, or actually not extra mile, but extra 250 miles, and learned about the company. And he learned indeed. Unlike private equity funds, Berkshire is famous for investing into companies with the intention to never sell them. But then the question is, where does Buffett get the funds to follow this strategy? And the answer is insurance float generated by GEICO and other insurance companies. Insurance float is essentially money that an insurer temporarily holds but does not own.
And float is the money that hangs around Berkshire while a claim is waiting to be paid. And Warren turned out to have an extraordinary ability to use the money thrown off by the float to buy companies that fed the growth of Berkshire.
Awesome, right? Before meeting Charlie Munger, Buffett followed the strategy that he learned from Ben Graham, the cigar butt strategy, which meant investing into mediocre businesses at fair prices, at attractive prices rather, with a huge margin of safety. This approach worked quite well for Buffett, but did not scale, unfortunately. And then Charlie Munger comes in. Warren Buffett explains that whenever he and Charlie Munger disagree about something, Charlie finishes the conversation by saying, "Warren, think about it, and you agree with me. Because you're smart and I'm right."
And life is so much more fun this way, too. I mean, who wants to spend their life trying to change people from their natural approaches?
You want to ruin your life, spend it trying to change your spouse.
Yeah.
Charlie Munger persuaded Warren Buffett to forget about investing into fair businesses at wonderful prices and instead to focus on investing into wonderful businesses at fair prices. And this approach worked wonders for Berkshire. Well, I think that Buffett would still become a successful investor and businessman without Charlie Munger. But would he have become that successful? I don't think so. So what differentiates a great company from a cigar butt? Well, a few things, but one of them is the competitive advantage, the long-term competitive advantage over other companies in the industry. Something similar to a moat of a castle. The moat can be low-cost production enjoyed by GEICO and Walmart, for example, or it can be a powerful worldwide brand, something similar to Apple or Coca-Cola, for example.
If you've got an economic castle people are going to come and want to take that castle away from you. And you better have a strong moat. You better have a knight in the castle that knows what he's doing.
When investing into a company or building your own company, you need to understand what the moat of the company is and what you can do to make it wider and deeper. What an investor needs is the ability to evaluate selected businesses. He or she doesn't have to be an expert in every business, or even in many. He just needs to understand very well his circle of competence, the businesses that lie within that circle.
Over the years, you develop a lot of filters. And I do know what I call my circle of competence. So I stay within that circle, and I don't worry about things that are outside that circle. Defining what your game is, where you're going to have an edge, is enormously important.
In 2017, Berkshire had a net income of $45 billion, an asset base of $700 billion, and the headcount of 380,000 employees. How does Buffett manage this goliath? The thing is, he doesn't. Dozens of operating managers do. Buffett and Munger just attend to capital allocation, select those managers, define their KPI and compensation, and then leave them alone. And this approach works wonders for Berkshire. There is no sure way to become a multi-billionaire. But there is a way to become a successful professional who enjoys every day at work. Buffett showed this way, so we just need to follow along. Thanks for watching. Would be cool to read your thoughts and comments. And next time, we'll talk about Charlie Munger and his famous book. So stay tuned and subscribe. Cheers!